Chord. Okay, cool. So what we'll do is I've basically put everybody's recording that was sent to me in my little editing thing, and I've lined everybody up and mixed down all the altos. I haven't edited anything. Okay, so you'll be able to hear little bits where we aren't coming in time and things like that, but that's a good thing. It's not going to be perfect, is it? Because we've only just started learning it, so I think it's good to listen to it. So yeah, we'll go through that, and we'll just make sure that please have a pencil at the ready, and be prepared to write all over your score. It's really, really, really important to do that. Even if it repeats, things that I've said, like if you do this on a long note, do this on every long note, then write it on every single long note, on every page, because don't assume that you'll remember it, because nobody ever does. Nobody ever does. No, like, it doesn't matter who you are, like, you've got to write things down, all the time. And it's something that, you learn very, very quickly, because it's kind of, you think it's, there was a guitarist that I played with once, and we went to rehearsal, and he didn't write anything down because he just got out of music college, and it was sort of that cool thing. It was trying to be cool, not writing it down. And of course, the gig came, and then he made loads of mistakes. It's just that thing, isn't it? So you've got to write things down. Cool. Let's have a look. I've written some stuff down, but I think we should just go straight in and just listen to it. And I'll just quickly pause it and just make sure that we'll go through it. So I'm only interested on page 2. From That's Where I'm Bound, okay, because we're going to do something different for page 1. So just on this, That's Where I'm Bound, that's where we'll hear it. Okay. Where is it?
That's where I'm bound. I know when I get there.
Okay, straight away, I know needs to be full of life. It's like we're sort of still singing it like we're trying to work out the notes are. Okay, so it's that's where I'm bound. Keep the vowel open for bound. Keep the vowel open all the way through the long notes. Yeah, really, really, really important, because it's the one thing that I can't edit. I can't change someone's vowel sounds, unfortunately. So we've got to make sure that we're there. So that's where I'm bound. I know when I get there. I know. And we talked about doing a little I know, sort of gospel-y sort of surprise. I know. It's got to sort of come out at nowhere, because it's going to be the first chord in the whole arrangement. So it's got to be lifted, okay? So make sure the I know is full of excitement. When I get there. Going on.
The first thing I see.
Okay, just make sure what I'm going to do when you do the real recording is I'm going to provide you with a track, with a click track. Okay, because it will help us a lot. I purposely didn't provide you one with this because I just was interested in how we're feeling the pulse at the moment. So it will be much easier to sing to. So it will be like, get there. The first thing I see, because I know you've got one phrase and you've got some rests and another phrase and then a rest and another phrase. So coming in on each phrase can be a little bit tricky if we lose that pulse. So the final recording in terms of timing will be much better, because we'll be hearing that click track. Okay?
Is the sun shining golden, shining right down on me?
Cool. Just make sure it's really lifted there. Shining right down on me. Not me. Not really tight me, because it's just going to drop pitch there. Shining right down on me. More of an sound me. Yeah, that's really, really important. Because if it's smaller, me, it's just going to drop.
Then trouble's gonna lose me.
Nice.
Worry leave
Again, keep that vowel open. Hind, not behind. Don't do that, yeah, because it just sticks out. So what's really important, I was saying this to the tenors and basses, because we haven't sung together now as a choir for a year. It's crazy to think that, isn't it? A whole year we haven't sung together, and we've been singing in our homes on our own. So it's really, really, really super important that when we're recording this, we have to imagine that we are back in our sections singing together and trying to blend as a section, okay? And all these sort of habits that, you know, if we were to sing this as a solo, you'd sing it completely differently to how you'd sing it in an alto section in a choir. And it's just making sure that we remember that. Yeah, when we get back together in the hall, we're going to probably do quite a lot of work on getting our blend back together, because, you know, we did so much work on it, didn't we, just before lockdown with Viva La Vida going to that competition. So we'll have to get that back. So just imagine that. I know it's hard, but imagine all these things that we've spoken about in the past to blend as a section and a choir have to apply even though you're singing it on your own at home. Yeah, it's really important. So vowel, worry, leave me behind. Yeah, not high, because it just will stick out. And I'll keeping those really hard. So, and I'll stand up proudly. And I'll stand up proudly is the lyric. You know, we've got to perform it as well.
And I'll stand up proudly.
So I know we're slightly hesitant on when to come in, but the click track will help with that. And I'll stand up right on the third beat. So 1, 2, and I'll stand up proudly. Off 2, in true peace of mind. Yeah.
In true peace of mind. Talking about her.
Okay, talking about her. That's important. A couple of us have gone talk about her. So just make sure that we go talking about her, and let's do a American. So not talking about her. It's sort of a D sound. Talking about her. That's really, really important. But yeah, just make sure that we circle that. Talking about her, not talk her. But rhythm and note wise, it was brilliant.
Way over yonder is the place I have seen.
Cool. Amazingly, that bar 70 is where the sop sort of really dropped pitch, and we've actually kept pitch there brilliantly and stayed in tune. But that's a bit where it would usually drop pitch because it's going down and it's on an E. So just watch that. I guess seen, but that sounds really nice. Just watch that triplet just on the bar before. Is a place. So it goes. It's after the third beat. So with the click track, it'll be a lot easier. But 1, 2, 3. Is a place. 1, 2, 3. Is a place I have seen. And these quavers, you know, don't slur them as well. Seen. Sort of repeat the vowel a little bit. Seen. Don't go seen. Don't slur them. Be really accurate with the notes. Yeah. Because you'd never do that as an example. You'd never do that as a soloist, you know. It would just you'd do something completely different. But as a choir, if everybody's doing it together as a section, it sounds brilliant.
In a garden of wisdom from some long.
So there, in a garden of wisdom. Some of us are going dumb. Some of us are going dum, like closing it off. So wisdom, again, open, quite bright. Not sounding, I'm doing an exaggeration, but lifting, got wisdom.
Go dream. Maybe
Spot on, and that key change. Very impressed with that. Brilliant.
tomorrow
again, going to the Y too early. Think of this one as, if you've got like a normal word ending on a consonant, like bright, you'd never go bright, would you ever? You never hold the last consonant. So it's exactly the same with a word like way, is you just, I'll find my way. Right at the end. You wouldn't go, way. Don't do that. So you wouldn't go to the consonant early. So don't close off the vowel early. Just keep that where sound right to the very end.
To the land where the honey runs.
Keep it lifted, drop in
the rivers each day.
Very, very good. Very, very good there. So it's slightly different, that one. So just make sure that we're all there with that. In the rivers each day. Just slightly higher note than the previous one. In the rivers each day. Just watch that. But that was really good.
And sweet tasting good life is so easily found.
Far, keep it really bright and lifted, far, far. Because, it's such a dark sound, isn't it? And it's just going to drop pitch. Keep it everything up there.
Way over yonder, that's where I'm bound. Way over yonder, that's where I'm bound.
Cool, yeah. No, it's tiny bit louder on the end there. But yeah, no, really, really, really good. For the bound, that's where I'm bound. Some of us sort of lose the pulse because we're holding a long note. But, what we've got to train ourselves to do is, even though we're singing these long notes, bound, we've got to keep on feeling that pulse. Easy with the click track. So don't worry, I'll send everybody a track with a click, and that's what we'll do the next recording on. Basically, over the next couple of weeks, so the next recording you send me will be the real thing. And as I said, I'll send everybody a sort of, I'll call it like a recording track or something, and it will be with an added click track. But sort of what I would do with this, what it's lacking mainly, obviously there's a few rhythm things here, but what it's lacking is performing it. Now, one of the best things that my singing teacher first said to me was, when it comes to recording, you can hear a smile in the recording, and it's so true. You can hear when someone is singing something with emotion, and you can sort of picture it. So when you're recording it next, and I sort of recommend, we won't be doing the final recording until like another couple of weeks because it's tenors and basses. So I sort of want you to record it a few times over the next couple of weeks, just in your own time. Don't listen immediately back to it. Record it once, record it again. Don't listen back to it. Then the next time you come to it, record another couple of times, then maybe listen back to it, and then record a couple more. Just over the next few weeks, don't do it all in one go. Spread it out a bit. And what I if I have to do a recording for something in one take from start to finish, and I know I've got to perform it, it's sort of getting in the zone, isn't it? It's getting in, and I always put like a jacket on or something and like dress up in what I would wear for a gig, because it automatically puts that hat on you. It automatically goes, right, I'm ready to record. I'm going to record this song now, rather than sort of just doing it in your pajamas, kind of thing. It really puts you in that zone. So I would really recommend doing that, and do whatever makes you feel sort of more in the zone. Turn the lights off, put like your phone like torch on or something, spotlight, do whatever makes you feel better about sort of performing it, because it's all about, we've got the notes now, the rhythms will be there more accurately with the click track, So it's just singing it with emotion now, which will really come through, and no amount of editing or moving things around will ever add that. um so yeah, really imagine, it's hard, very, very difficult to do, but imagine that we're singing together in a choir in your section. Get in the zone, get dressed for your concert gear, whatever, just to sing the audio. I'm not talking about the video, the audio, and it will really, really, really come across massively in our singing, definitely. Any questions?
Yeah, I'd like to ask one, which
Go
I
on.
found the most difficult.
Yeah.
Was it's such a long note, and it took me a lot of times to try and keep it level. Do you know what I mean? It's otherwise, I don't know how, because I've not had singing lessons or anything like that. How do you sort of keep it all on one line? Do you know what I mean?
In terms of like keeping the vowel open, you
Do
talking?
do I sing quieter? I don't know.
You mean sustaining the
long note is keeping that long note at the same level.
Do you mean sustaining it to the level that
when you go ooh, and then something
where you dip off it a bit?
Yeah. How do you?
So it's all about support. All about support. So you need to make sure that we have enough breath. So with this song, it's because it is smaller phrases all in one go. So for example, if I'm just looking at one, shining right down on me. If you sort of tell yourself to get louder just a little bit throughout that long note, then automatically you're gonna have to use more support to do that. If you just think of it like right down on me, it's very, very sort of difficult to sustain that. So if you practice it getting slightly louder, just ever so slightly, then automatically you're going to have to use more support and more and take that sort of big enough, like, good breath before each phrase. But it is
Ironically, what you did there as well, Ben, what I saw was that you breathed more. You actually carried on, even when you're feeling the breath is running out, you actually, ironically, the thing to do is breathe more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That helps support as well.
And don't get me wrong, it's more tiring to do that, definitely. Kurt, there's a jazz singer called Kurt Elling, who's like one of those he's a fantastic singer. Quite contemporary jazz, but he's got incredible technique, and he came to do a masterclass at Guildhall when I was still there, and he said something that stuck with me. He said, if your singing muscles aren't aching after a gig, it just means you're not doing it right. It's true, really. If you don't get home and feel exhausted, it's because you haven't done something. You're not supporting enough. So it's hard work. It is hard work. And there are a couple of things that I can suggest if you are sort of getting like a little bit breathless on this, but obviously we want it to be as good as it can be. So you can split it in half. So you can record one up to, everyone nailed the key change brilliantly, but you can record the first half up to the key change one day, and then bar 80 on page 4 where it changes key, and then record the next half another day or an hour later or something. So you can sort of split it up like that. Because again, audio, it does when you're singing at home, we are putting loads and loads of support in, and it is tiring. So you're absolutely more than welcome to do that if you want. But yeah, no, everyone's notes though, in terms of like pitch, were really, really good actually, right to the end of the bar. It was only the vowels that I was sort of hearing, sort of closing off the vowels, which actually I personally find it harder to sustain, on an E, on a sort of small, tighter vowel rather than an open air. It's a lot easier, I think, naturally to hold a long note like that than a sort of really tight closed O or E. So yeah, just experiment with it, and over the next couple of weeks, just record a couple of takes this week, then just leave it for a few days, then record another couple of takes, then leave it, record another couple of takes. And then literally when you come to, doing it, you can either do it for real, one more, or listen back and actually say, the first take that I did 2 weeks ago, I'm really happy with, I'm going to send that one. So yeah, just spread it out. get in your concert gear, dress up, imagine an audience in front of you and perform it. That's really, really important, I think, for this one. Does that all make sense?